I've waited decades for Hornby to release a new Apt, and finally it's here. So in this video we're going to take a look at the box. What's in the box? What do you get? This is the 7-car set. I'm going to ask a very important question with the difference between the 5 and the 7-car set that I haven't been able to get an answer from Hornby about. And make sure you watch all the way to the end because there's a bit of a surprise. So this is the BR Class 370 Advanced Passenger Train. This is sets 370001 and 002. So this comprises of a DTS, a TBF, 2 NDMs, an apt-u development vehicle, and a TBF and DTS again. This is our 3874. This is the 7-car train pack. So this is the larger of the 2 train packs and inevitably the more expensive. So we've got some lovely artwork there on the front, which is repeated on the sides as well and on the top. So looking at the rear, we've got a description and a bit of history about the Apt and the Class 370. It's also got some extra train packs illustrated there, which I have also got a hold of. For some reason they came out long before the actual train packs. And it shows you an illustration of this actual train pack put together. So that's the packaging. Let's get inside. So inside we have got 2 sleeves. They're made of the molded pulp cardboard type texture, and these white sheets are just taped down onto the top. So in the first sleeve we've got these 4 components with the driving ends and coaches, and in the second sleeve we have some destructions, and we've got the 2 NDMs and the development vehicle. So a quick look at the instructions or destructions depending on what you want to put it. We've got the installing of the decoders, which will go into your power cars and which will also go into your driving ends as well. So if you're running DCC, this is how to fit your DCC decoders. Also, we've got the usual general routine and maintenance instructions for running in, and this also explains on fitting DCC chips as well. Gives you some formation details and how to remove the body and things like that off the NDM, where to lubricate and so on, and obviously the differences between the 2 pantographs and how to actually raise them and lower them. So similar packaging to that of the coach packs that I've already had a look at in a previous video. They're in this sort of molded pulp packaging, and they've got a film sheet that's sort of wrapped around the actual model each individually. Let's take a quick look at one of the front ends here then. So this one here. So this one is the driving end of 370001 with a running number of SC48101. So similar to that of the coach packs, we've got the shared bogie, which we'll share between this and the next coach, depending on whether you're running it as a 7-car pack. That would be one of these down here. If you're running extra coach packs, it will be shared with those coach packs. So just like the coach packs, it's got plenty of printed detail. We've got our warning flash overhead wire signs. We've got printed detail both on the very lower part of the body itself, warning people that the gap will close, and we've also got warnings printed onto the bogies themselves. These are plastic bogies, and we have got our metal wheels. They're quite short in height, these metal wheels. I've mentioned that before in the coach packs. Both bogies have got electrical pickups for obviously the interior lights, and of course this has directional lights on it, with it being one of the ends. You can see on the bottom there we've got our access to fit our DCC chips or DCC chip. This 7-car set has the black ends around the cab windows. We've got our Intercity Apt printed onto the nose cone. Such a shame that that nose cone doesn't actually move up and down. That would have been a really nice touch for towing and things like that. We've got those directional lights. We've got a lovely, what appears to be separately fitted windscreen wiper there. Up on the top we've got the usual ribbing that we've seen on the coach packs, and we've got a nice separately fitted grille there as well. And our interior on this one is also in the red. We've got printed detail on the sliding door there. We've also got some detail inside one of the windows there with the destinations and where it's stopping. And the cab doors look to have some nice molded detail to them as well, with handles, windows and so on. The lower half of the model, similar to that of the coaches, has got plenty of molded detail. Some of it I think could be picked out better, maybe with some washers and things like that, because a lot of it just can't really be seen unless it's in a certain light with the fawny coloured livery. There does appear to be quite some excessive gaps at the front of the nose cone here, but that also shows to me that realistically in real life how the nose cone would have lifted. So although it's not a perfect fit, it does actually give that impression to you that you know that that part would actually lift up. So there are quite a few gaps there along the front where the mouldings actually fit together. Now, because we've got this front end here where passengers wouldn't be, the capacitor, the famous capacitor for the lighting, is hidden very well. So in this case, you don't get to see the dirty grey capacitor. So that's just not a problem on there. You'll see as we get into this video that the capacitor situation may have been a second thought when it came to the coach packs. So similar to that of the coach pack, on the corridor ends, we've got those corridors, and you can see round in which way it would have gone. You can also see those locating screws. We've got overhead flash warnings, but not an awful lot of this is actually going to be visible when it's actually butted up against the next car. So that is one of the drive ends. We won't spend that much time on the second one because it is pretty much the exact same, with the only difference being its running numbers and its unit number. So yes, this has got the running number of SC48102 and the fleet number of 370002. Other than that, exactly the same as the car we have just looked at. So we won't spend any further time on that, but there are the driving ends. So next up, we'll have a look at the TBF. So the TBF here only has one bogie on it. It isn't shared, but it does connect and share a bogie with another item. In this case, it would be the driving trailer. So this particular one has a running number of SC48601. We've also got our destination and locations that it'll be stopping printed there inside the window. All of the moulding along the bottom end and your sliding doors, same with the print detail on the sliding door and your overhead warning flashes. And we've got our yellow contrail there denoting that it's first class. So the interior on this first class is blue. We've got the same ribbing on the top as they have on all of the coaches. You can see our whited out window there for a toilet vestibule. We've got the larger sliding door here at the rear. Plenty of detail there with the handles. Yet again, the same print detail on the bogie area, on the body and on the actual bogie itself. Very nice indeed. We've got quite a bit more detail on the corridor end here on this particular one. So we've got our printed detail for the overhead flash warnings. We've got a nice big Buckeye coupling there and plenty of moulded detail for jump cables and things like that. We've got electrical pickups on both axles of the bogie. That'll be for the interior lights. And we've got our connector here that runs between this car and an NDM. They're quite an interesting connector, and I have actually ordered the Hunt couplings for this particular set. I think I'll be a bit more comfortable putting this on and off the track using the Hunt couplings, less likely to damage these couplings. Speaking of which, you do actually receive spare couplings inside of the actual train packs. So in the same way to the driving trailers, the next coach is pretty much exactly the same as the one we just looked at, only this one has a fleet number of SC48602. Pretty much absolutely identical to the one we have just looked at, so we won't waste any more time on that. So now we're on to sleeve 2, and yet again we've got some more spare couplings, some more connectors there spare, supplied with the set, but like I said, I have ordered the Hunt couplings for this particular set. So we'll have a look at the development vehicle next. This doesn't share any bogies, it has its bogies all to itself. So this particular item only has electrical pickups on one bogie. It does have the connecting couplings fitted already to these bogies, and inside it you can see plenty of detail for the development. So you can see all the computers, a lot of 19-inch rack items all racked up there, plenty of seats for working at those desks or workstations, and positioned very differently to that of inside the ordinary coaches. It's quite interesting detail. The capacitor is just so visible on that side, and it is very visible on the other side. But we've had this conversation before in a previous video. I am not moving my capacitors, I'm just leaving them exactly where they are and taking focus off with other things. Not really wanting to get into a debate on the capacitors, so we'll just leave that to one side now. But the interior of this is very nice. Although there's nothing much happening with the actual instruments that are on the desks and the workstations, unlike the Apt-e from Rapido, it is nice to have all of that detail inside, and you can see it visibly with the interior lights. So that has a running number of SC48204. Similar to all the other coaches and the coach packs, you've got the warning flash printed detail, and lots of moulded detail on the ends of the corridors. The same printed detail on bogies and on the lower part of the body. Got all of the moulded detail running along the lower portion of the body of the coach. I think I might actually try some washers and things on this just to try pick out some of that detail a little bit more stronger. I would imagine they would have got a little bit dirty, maybe not a lot dirty, but I suspect they would have got a little bit dirty, so it would be nice to be able to pick those things out a little bit more predominantly. And obviously we've got our printed detail on the sliding doors, and you can see where the step would have folded out from the sliding door as well. So it's quite nice to have the development vehicle there as well. So next up I want to have a look at the NDMs, or the non-driving motor units. Now there are two included in this pack, so let's get into these now. Now we've looked at a power car previously on its own when the additional power car became available for the 5-car set. Inside we get some spare couplings again, so there's loads of these spare coupling connectors supplied with these sets. So if you haven't seen the video I did on the NDM previously, there will be a link in the description and also at the top of the screen. But taking a look at it, it has got plenty of detail on the roof. We've got all of those insulators and the wires running along. The main difference between this and the NDM in a previous video, apart from the actual running numbers, is the fact that this has the later style pantograph and not the earlier one. So there is a difference in the pantograph fitted to the top. Otherwise, pretty much exactly the same as that of the power units from the video I'd looked at previously. This one has a running number of SC49001. It has significant weight to it, and on the bottom you can see where the access area for putting your DCC chip in. All-wheel electrical pickup and drive, and this also features flywheels, so it comes to a nice slow stop when you release the power and slow it down on your controller. Now this is powered, that's great. This is where, when I first opened this setup, I became very surprised. So we have our second NDM unit here with spare couplings again, and you open it up, and the first thing that's noticeable as soon as you open it up and remove it is the fact that this is much lighter. So we've got a running number of SC49002, exactly the same as that on the other one, only a different running number. We have the later style pantograph on the top, but this is totally freewheeling. It's got a good weight to it, but it is a complete dummy. There is no motor in this second NDM. Now here's the question that I've yet to be able to get an answer for in relation to Hornby, and I even asked one of Hornby's reps. The 5-car Hornby train pack for the Apt has 2 driving ends, 2 coaches, 1 NDM. That NDM is a powered NDM. You can buy an additional NDM, as I have, and I have it on the shelf there. It's for sets 370003 and 370004. That additional NDM is powered. It is motorized. So if you have a 5-car set, you buy a second NDM, the one that actually goes with that set, you end up with 2 powered NDMs. Yet if you buy a 7-car set with 2 NDMs, only one of them is powered. I am yet to get an answer as to why that is. Why would the 7-car set not require 2 powered units? Both sets can be made up to 14 cars. So why would one set have 1 unit that's powered and the other set end up with 2 powered units? Not only does that mean you would need an additional DCC chip if you were running on DCC, because you'd need to be able to power both units with a DCC chip, but it also begs the question that one would also be somewhat more powerful. The 7-car set is considerably more money than the 5-car set. You can understand that it does have an additional power car, although unpowered, and it also has the development vehicle. But it still doesn't quite explain why the additional purchased separately NDM is powered and you end up with a dummy in here. It's not something I've actually heard an awful lot about on the internet, and I've been trying to ask this question to Hornby, and like I say, I asked a rep when I saw them recently and they couldn't answer the question either. So if anyone does actually know the reasoning behind it with Hornby, I would be intrigued to know. So that brings up the 7-car set, 2 NDMs, 1 dummy of them. We've got the 2 ends, 2 coaches, and we've got the development vehicle. So whilst I've been taking you through this video, you'll have seen some running shots, you'll also have seen some close-ups, still images, seen the directional lights, all that kind of thing. And this is great. It's something I've been waiting for a long time. I now have a full 14 car rake. I also have a development vehicle. I have a spare additional NDM that's powered, and potentially, if I foresee any further problems, then I may actually just swap the shell of the unpowered unit with that of my powered unit. That way I will have the additional power if there's any issues. I don't understand why we would have a dummy power unit though. It's not something that occurred to me when you buy the additional one and it's powered. However, whilst all this was happening, something really quite amazing happened, and it's going to be coming up in the next video. Basically, I ended up finding 2 Hornby Apt 5 car sets, original ones from the early 80s. To find one at a reasonable price is quite good. To find 2 at an exceptionally good price and purchase them together is even better. And I think we're going to take a look at those in a future video, and I think we should put some comparisons against the 2 sets, detail wise, just to see how much further Hornby really went with these new APTs. So thanks for watching. I shall see you again soon. There's a video at the top of the screen and there's a playlist at the bottom. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and also check out the Aidan's Shorts channel. Thanks for watching, and I shall see you again soon. Bye now.